Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates, and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We are on the way to 11,000 subscribers and click a like on the video as well. I would be incredibly grateful. Lots to get into today. We're talking about Sesko, Hatto, Tierney, Zinchenko, Zirkzee. We'll talk about the England squad and lots more as well. There's loads of you in here, which you absolutely love to see. It's a Thursday evening, which basically means the week is over. VV Vlad, Mohammed, Jacob, Jacob, isn't it? Dave, Junior Films, K, Pekka, Big Chib, Icarus, Cringe, Hyper, Emilio, JPave, Carl, Heyo, Ethan Udall, Sportcat, Keenan, Francisco Oliveira, Ross Lawman, Leeds Gunner, and many, many more. It is good to see you all. I hope you're all doing well. I've seen many unironically want Palmer over Saka in the Euros. If you want Palmer over Saka in the Euros, give your head a big old wobble and, look at what Saka has done for England in an England shirt over the last few years. England's player of the year 2 years in a row. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Saka, the poster boy for the Euros. He literally is the poster boy for the... He is probably the second or third name on Gareth Southgate's team sheet. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. Do you think we're going to get our transfer business done early again, like before July 15th? It'll be difficult to get all of it done before July 15th purely because of the Euros and Copa America. The transfer window opens on the opening day of the Euros. And then a month later, by the time the Euros ends, that's basically July 15th. So it will be difficult, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get at least some of it done, especially the sales. I'd like us to get all of the sales done, particularly for the players that aren't going to either the Euros or Copa America, which is most of them, I think. Sonny, thank you for the 199 super chat. What a start to the stream. Thoughts on Osimhen now that he has rejected Chelsea? I like him, but for 113 million release clause, I just think it's way too much. I would like Osimhen at the club. I think he's a very, he's a top striker, but I don't like his price tag. I think it's too much. If we could get him for 80 million, yeah, bring him in. But I don't blame him for wanting us over Chelsea. I mean, supposedly, I don't know if he rejected Chelsea or Chelsea rejected him. In fairness, I think Chelsea are just copying whatever we want to do, and we want to go for Sesko at the moment. So there you go. There you go. Southgate can be a prick, but one thing I know is he's not going to do is start Palmer over Saka. Yeah, exactly. Southgate loves Bukayo Saka. Absolutely loves him. Smith Rowe plus Tommy plus 25 million for Osimhen is a good deal. Yeah, I'd take that. If you basically said that that's valuing Smith Rowe at 35, Tommy at 25, plus 25, 80 million, I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. John, thank you for the €5.99 super chat. Absolutely fantastic. He says, will you try to explain in simple terms what is going on with City? I can try and explain in simple terms what is going on with Man City, yes. And thank you very, very much for the $5.99 super chat. Effectively, this is what's happening with City. They have 115 charges. We all know that. That is due to go on trial in November. Now, within those 115 charges, a lot of them are actually for simply not providing their financial information to the Premier League, which they have to do. But the financial information that the Premier League believe they haven't adhered to is mainly FFP. Some of it relates back to pre-existing rules on sponsorship inflation. So in 2021, the Premier League introduced new rules called the Associated Party Transaction Rules, which was really to tackle what Man City had already done and to make sure that Newcastle couldn't do it with Saudi Arabia. What do those rules mean? They mean that the Premier League has to sign off on sponsorship details, and an independent assessor basically has to say, yes, the sponsorship deal is worth that, right? So, you couldn't, if you took it down to a smaller level, right? Take a non-league club. Take, I don't know, Bromley, right? You couldn't suddenly have Adidas come in and decide to sponsor Bromley for 500 million a year, because everyone knows that's just not worth the sponsorship. So that's what that is based on. Now, we know that City did that with Etihad. We know that they did it with 4 of their 10 biggest sponsors. 4 of those 10 biggest sponsors have links to Abu Dhabi. So they are, and it is pretty clear that they were massively overpaying, overpaying on their sponsorship, effectively. So I can't remember the exact years, but I think between 2009 and 2019, Man City's sponsorship revenue grew by over 1,000%. Over 1,000% their revenue increased. At the same time, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, their sponsorship revenue all increased by about 200%. So basically, Man City's sponsorship revenue grew at like 5 times the amount that the other big clubs did. It just makes no sense. And some of those deals allowed them to buy players that they just wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. One of them, I think it was in the 2010-11 season, or maybe 11-12. But basically, it was when they bought like Fernandinho, Jovetic, and someone else. And all 3 of those players, they simply shouldn't have been able to afford. So it's like directly they bought players that they shouldn't have been able to buy because they shouldn't have been able to afford them. And that got them to where they were. What's happening now, the civil war, is because Man City are basically suing the Premier League and saying that those rules are not fair, despite the fact that they are incredibly fair. So that's as simple as I can try and make it, because it's quite a confusing thing. But yeah, there you go. Thank you for the $5.99. This type of stuff, even with Chelsea and Newcastle, is why we can't get mad at Arsenal for increasing spending. I agree. And that's another thing. So the only clubs that sympathise with Man City are Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa, and Everton, apparently. Those are all clubs that have massive incentives for those rules not to exist, because they've all either already been fined and already been penalised for breaching FFP rules, or they're going to be. A lot of politics. Yeah, a lot of politics. There's also a whole other side of it where the UK government have had conversations with the UAE about how to resolve this issue, which is insane. It's absolutely insane, and it's a big problem. So City manipulated the application of the rules and are now saying that the same rules are unfair. Yeah, exactly. It's the final. Suing the Premier League is the final thing they have. Lance Armstrong's tried to sue USADA, the US anti-doping agency, as like a final thing before he got done. It's the last roll of the dice, basically. Some people even have suggested that the Premier League could just kick them out for trying to sue the Premier League in the first place, but I don't know how that works. Anyway, look, we've got some transfer news to talk about today. The first one, obviously, Benjamin Sesko. We heard yesterday from David Ornstein that Sesko is kind of the first clear target that Arsenal have this window. And Fabrizio Romano said today, in the next days, the situation of Benjamin Sesko will become clear. The player will make a decision on his future. As of today, I can guarantee you 100% Sesko himself does not know where he will play next season. The first step has to be to inform Leipzig of his decision. He has to decide whether he wants to be the superstar of Leipzig for one more season or to leave immediately. He has 3 proposals from the Premier League: Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal. These 3 clubs have already approached Sesko and presented him with their project. Now it is on him to decide. So, Sesko's got a decision to make. Arsenal, Chelsea, United, or stay at Leipzig for another year. Now, I would like to think if the option is between Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man United, Arsenal is the best option. Only team with Champions League football. Yomi, please, you're incredibly annoying. I'll be blunt, Yomi. You're incredibly annoying. It's if you look at Arsenal, you've got Champions League football guaranteed. You've got the only team out of the 3 that is likely to compete for the title next season. You've got a relatively clear pathway to first team football in terms of him and Havertz basically battling it out. It just feels like it would be the right decision for him to make. However, that's your problem. Well, it's your problem because you're gone. There you go. Yeah, I think he could end up staying at Leipzig. I do think that's a genuine other option. He could decide to stay for another year. It wouldn't be a silly option for him. It wouldn't be a silly option for him to stay for another year. But then again, if you do stay for another year, Arsenal will probably find their solution elsewhere, and the opportunity to move to Arsenal may not exist again next summer. So it's difficult. It is difficult for him to make that decision, but we'll see how it goes. Everyone seems to believe he's going to make that decision before the Euros. Everyone is expecting him to make that decision before the Euros. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the first one that we will find out. You know, it'll either be that it's not going to happen or it is going to happen, and we'll find out pretty soon. He's jarring in the Discord as well. He is. We've got Conference League. He's never played there. A great experience for him to play in a stadium with a capacity of 1,400. It's a unique experience for him. It would be a unique experience for him. What would your starting lineup be for the Euros? Now we know England's 26-man squad. I'll come back to that, Ethan. Once I've got through the Arsenal stuff, we'll move on to the England stuff. So I will come back to that. Other news, the other part of the title. This is coming from Chris Wheatley. Hatto, Jorel Hatto from Ajax, who is an incredibly good young defender, one that Arsenal are very keen on, has said, I will play for Ajax next season. I haven't finished learning here yet, and I want to win prizes with Ajax. So Hatto is not going to move this summer. I think that had become relatively clear anyway. He just signed a new contract. Arsenal were happy for him to sign that new contract. And look, I think that's an incredibly mature decision to make. One thing about Hatto is that for his age, he is incredibly mature. He captains the team. And I do. I think that is an incredibly mature decision to make. Stay with Ajax, continue learning and growing there. Ideally win something with Ajax because this season wasn't good for them. And we can come back in for him next summer. That's not a problem whatsoever. We still maintain good relations with him and with Ajax. So I think it's probably smart. It's almost, in some ways, even if we bought him this summer, in some ways you could make the argument that you'd be better off loaning him back to Ajax anyway. So, why not? It completely makes sense, which is fine, as long as we do end up getting him next summer. But I would love Arsenal to sign Sesko, if not Jesus and ESR for Osimhen plus 40 million. I think Jesus and Smith Rowe plus 40 million is too much for Osimhen, in my opinion. That takes you over 100 million in value again, in my opinion. Just a note, it's not pronounced Sesko, it's pronounced Seshko. Seshko. I apologize. I might just actually stick to Sesko on it. Seshko just sounds like I've got a speech impediment, DG really wants Diamande too. Yeah, I'm a fan of Diamande. I am a fan of Diamande. I think we get both of them. Like I said, I see our defense by the end of next summer, in a dream world, I see our defense being White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Diamande, and Hatto. Them's are the six. Seshko is annoying to say. Yeah, I do feel like it is. It might be one of those ones like Erdegaard. Erdegaard just accepted that people call him Erdegaard instead of Odegaard, which is his actual name, apparently. So we might just have to go for it. Don't understand why you did a poll, Rory, as clearly whoever loses in the vote is obviously being a victim of discrimination, a la UAE with City. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was surprised. There was a vote today. There were two votes today, actually. There were two votes in the Premier League today at the AGM. One of them was the vote on VAR being scrapped. That was the vote that Wolves put forward. It lost 19 votes to 1. The only team that voted in favour of it was Wolves, who were the ones that tabled the motion. So VAR is staying, although it is going to be, they are going to work on improving it, supposedly. And the other vote was for I think it was tabled by Aston Villa, maybe. But basically, yeah, it was tabled by Aston Villa. They wanted basically, as it stands, the PSR, profit sustainability. 299, 249 super chat from John. Thank you very, very much, John. Again, he said, lads, I can't see Smith Rowe go. Please take Vieira. I know a lot of people feel like that, but the issue is the money. The issue is the money. We get a lot more for Smith Rowe and it's pure profit, but it will be incredibly painful to see Smith Rowe go if he does go. But yeah, the other vote. So with PSR, you're allowed to lose a maximum of £105 million over a 3-year period. So any 3-year period, within the last 3 years, you're only allowed to have lost, in total, £105 million. Aston Villa wanted to increase that to being able to lose £135 million. So they basically wanted to increase that by 30 million. And it lost. It lost. And this is the thing. You know, when Man City are talking about how it's not fair and everyone's, you know, this, that, and the other, and supposedly other clubs think that it's not fair on them. 15 clubs rejected increasing it from 105 million loss to 135 million loss. 2 clubs abstained from the vote, and only 3 clubs voted in favor of it. So the whole league is, well, 3/4 of the league is against allowing teams to go over 105 million in losses. Did you find out about Arsenal's accounts being May 31st? Yes, they are. Arsenal's accounts are run until May 31st. Don't know why. But actually, the Ollie who did the tweet in the first place, he actually DM'd me afterwards and fully explained it. And it's clear as day. It's actually on the website. You can actually find it on the Arsenal website. So it is 100% legitimate that Arsenal's accounts are until the 31st of May. So we are into a new year. We are into our new year, which gives us an advantage. Thoughts on Ederson from Atalanta being strongly linked to Liverpool? Great signing. Great signing. Ederson from Atalanta is good. Good player. Looked great in the final. Looked great throughout the Europa League, to be honest. And it's no surprise that Liverpool, having played against him, you know, quite often that happens. A team will play against a player and go, do you know what? I'd quite fancy him being here. So, yeah, good signing for them. They need that sort of midfielder. It makes sense. It does make sense. Man City is on the losing side of history. Mark my words. Oh, I agree. I think everyone agrees. Everyone with a bit of common sense agrees, I think. You hear Chelsea, Villa, and Newcastle are behind City for the Avengers fight. That's what I'm seeing. Don't know if it's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, it's true up until a point. Chelsea, Villa, and Newcastle are not actually doing anything to help Man City. They are just sympathetic. So basically, Chelsea, Villa, and Newcastle are the ones that are saying, yeah, I actually have a sympathy for Man City. On the other side of the table, it's been confirmed Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United, Wolves, Brighton, Fulham are all actually actively providing evidence against Man City for the Premier League. They are actively giving evidence. So why is Everton involved? Well, Everton's involved because they keep losing money. Basically, they've been losing money for years. They've lost so much that they've had points deductions. What, 3 times, twice already? They've had points deductions twice already, and they're still in danger of getting further points deductions if they don't sell players before the end of June. They're in big trouble, and they've also got real problems with their owners and building a new stadium. So yeah, there's loads of stuff. Why do you say Man United like that? I think I copy it off Mark Goldbridge. Whenever I hear Mark Goldbridge, he always calls them Manchester United. So I just sometimes do the same. Why Villa? Because Villa spend so much money. Villa are also in the position. Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Everton all have to sell players before the end of June to avoid getting punished for breaching PSR rules. I don't think people I really don't think people realize how much money Aston Villa have spent. I think they've got the 4th highest wage bill in the Premier League. And over the last 3 years, I think they've spent the 4th or 5th most amount of money on transfers as well. You know, it's not some, you know, it's cool that Emery took them from where he did, but it's not some sort of fairy tale that they've made it into the top 4 because they're spending that sort of money. Isn't Villa's owner one of the richest people in the world? Yeah, he's incredibly rich. He's incredibly rich. Cy Walder, I've not seen him say anything. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Cheeky bid for Douglas Luiz? Yeah, definitely. But apparently he's agreed terms with Juventus. Yeah, Leicester and Forest are also in it as well. Leicester and Forest. I mean, Leicester's is slightly different because they were spending the money that a Premier League club would make with no sort of... Basically, Leicester were spending money like a Premier League club and then ended up in the Championship very unexpectedly. You know, some teams that are down the bottom of the Premier League, they'll spend kind of within their means, being aware that they might end up in the Championship. Well, Leicester had no idea they were going to end up in the Championship when they did. And obviously, you lose an awful lot of money when that happens. So, thoughts on the Kadioglu rumours going quiet? It seems like it was all agent talk. Yeah, very possibly. Very possibly agent talk. Although I'm not really sure. I think it's to do with Fenerbahce. I think it's more to do with Fenerbahce. It's like new manager. I think they might be getting a new president, or they've got a vote on a new president. So it's one of those. I can't imagine they're in a position right now to be doing transfers effectively without knowing exactly who the president and manager are going to be. You're not going to be doing transfers. So thank God Kadioglu isn't good enough. Fair. You think Ipswich will spend a lot? They'll spend a bit, but again, they'll be wary of just how much they can spend. When do you think Raya will be officially announced? Probably during the Euros, maybe. Thing is, he can't be announced before the 14th of June when the window opens, so it's going to be difficult. Anyway, some more news. Team News and Ticks talking about Onana, Amadou Onana at Everton. He said his agent, who is his sister, has been contacting clubs, Arsenal included, to try and engineer a move for him. We have not contacted Everton as of yet, but that is not to say that we're not interested. We are interested. So, yeah, Amadou Onana is one that could happen. Clearly, they're trying to work a move for Onana away from Everton. Everton need money. They'd rather sell Onana than Branthwaite, if possible. So really, it's just about whether Arsenal actually want it. Yeah, his sister is his sister's his agent. That happens all the time, by the way. Do you know the amount of footballers whose agents are either like their dad or their brother or their sister, which, in my opinion, makes no sense. Like, clearly, before you were a footballer, your relative was not a football agent. Get a football agent to be your agent. You know, it is weird, but a lot of them do it. According to Team Talk, so it will be Fraz Fletcher at Team Talk. Arsenal will sell Kieran Tierney this summer. Mikel Arteta is against giving him another chance at the club. Premier League clubs are keeping tabs on his situation, with Aston Villa among the clubs interested. So I think we all knew that Tierney was going, but confirmation that Mikel Arteta is not willing to give him another chance, and he will be going. Can you imagine any company being okay with wanting to be allowed to lose over 135 million over 3 years? Their CEO would be sacked immediately if they proposed that. Yeah, exactly. The only teams that benefit from being allowed to lose more money are the teams that aren't running it as a business, but are just sinking money into it. And that, in the majority, is the state-backed sports washing teams who are happy to just plow money into it and lose it all. And that's exactly the problem. That is exactly the problem. Plettigol has said, and this is actually a bit of a shame potentially, but Plettigol has come out and said Alexander Zinchenko is not a hot topic of interest at Bayern Munich, and sources close to the player have confirmed that a move is very unlikely. So, yeah, those of us getting our hopes up that Zinchenko may be moving to Bayern and getting a decent bit of money for us, it does not sound, at least from Plettigol, like that's going to happen, which is a shame. And Fabrizio Romano again, back to Fabrizio. AC Milan have informed Bologna that they are planning to trigger the €40 million release clause of Joshua Zirkzee. Talks now ongoing between AC Milan and Zirkzee's camp to agree on personal terms. This is the crucial point. Zirkzee is happy to stay in Italy and super keen on the AC Milan project. So it would appear that Zirkzee is off to AC Milan. And so that is one striker that was, potentially on our radar off the table, seemingly, if he goes to AC Milan. But there you go. There we go. We are over 100 likes. We're over 100 likes, and I've barely had to beg you for it. If you've still not liked it, yeah, man. Click that like button. Do me a favor. Thank you very much. I'm surprised more clubs didn't take an interest in Zirkzee. That release clause is fairly cheap. Yeah, I mean, it's 40 million euros. It's what, 33, 34 million quid, something like that. So, yeah. What's the minimum you take for Rambo? In the Premier League, 30 million is the absolute minimum. Got here and liked it. I appreciate that. I hope Saka is all right. Is that based on anything, Emilio? Is that based on anything new, or just the fact that he's not been, I don't know. Is that based on anything? I mean, I know he didn't play in the first game, and they've been monitoring him carefully, but didn't Plettigol say Raya, Rice, and Timber and Havertz would choose Bayern over Arsenal? He did. Plettigol is a bit of a fraud for Bayern. He is a bit of a fraud for Bayern, it has to be said. But he isn't in the squad for tomorrow. I'm not sure. Originally, Gareth Southgate said that he could be in the squad for tomorrow. I'm not sure if he's done another update since that. I know when he said he wasn't going to be in the squad for the first game, he said he was hoping he'd be in the squad for the second game. If that's changed, then I'm not sure. Bruno G, still the one? Possibly. Must be frustrating to be an Ajax fan. Hatto saying, yeah. Meaning he will 100% leave next season. Used to be us some years ago. Yeah, I mean, look, that's the reality. Unfortunately, if you are Ajax, the sad reality is that you're a stepping stone to the bigger leagues in Europe, which it is a bit brutal. But as long as Ajax fans will only really care about winning the league. Of course, they'd like to do well in Europe as well, but the big thing for them is winning the league. If you can get the money for Hatto, which means you can reinvest it in the squad and that sort of thing, then that's just the cycle of the club. Have you read Rice's quotes on Wharton? Could Arsenal sign him out of nowhere? Well, there were some links to us being interested in Wharton. I mean, I think everyone's going to be interested in Wharton at this point. I've not seen the quotes. I've not seen the quotes from Rice about Wharton. I saw Rice's quotes about Kobbie Mainoo. So I do just think he's bigging up all of them, in fairness. But why would Southgate announce the players leaving before the second friendly? I think he had already told them, and then it started leaking to the media, to be honest. I think maybe the plan was for it to be announced tomorrow after the friendly, but Guehi starting in the Euros? Yeah, probably. Stones and Guehi, I'd imagine. Is it true our FFP window closed on May 31st? It is true. Yeah. We are now into the next year of FFP. I know some of you have been asking for my England 11. Now that we know the squad. It's tricky because Luke Shaw we don't know about. Luke Shaw definitely isn't going to play in the first game. Southgate said it's a calculated risk and he might be available from the second game onwards. Pickford in goal. Walker at right back. Stones, Guehi. Ideally Luke Shaw, but we'll call it, I don't know, Joe Gomez. I don't like Trippier at left back. I don't know the left back. The left back's a mess, an absolute mess. Rice, Bellingham, Foden in midfield. Bellingham can play as an 8. Anyone who doesn't think that Bellingham can play as an 8, where were you for the rest of his career where he was playing as an 8? Saka off the right, Kane through the middle. And right now, I'm leaning towards Eze off the left. I'd like to see Eze again in the next England game, but I am leaning towards Eze off the left. I'd be happy for it to be Anthony Gordon. But I am leaning towards Eze off the left. Yeah, look, Joe Gomez was decent at left back for Liverpool this season. My only worry is that if you have Walker at right back and Joe Gomez or Trippier at left back, There is very little attacking output on either side. Kyle Walker has pace, but his attacking output is really not good. And Trippier on the left doesn't use his left foot. So it's tough. It is tough. I hope we move for Hatto soon. He won't always be available. Well, I said at the start of the show, he's staying at Ajax for next season. He said he wants to stay at Ajax next season. So who would be your 11 tomorrow? My 11 tomorrow would be as close as we can get to the main 11. So pretty much the team I just said. My team tomorrow would be as close as we can get to the team that we're actually going to start at the Euros. You know, they don't have enough time to play together. Tomorrow's the only chance they can do it in a proper match. So how good is White at left back? Probably better than any of the options we've got. The only other one is this is the thing. Not having Trent in the starting 11 seems ridiculous, but I don't think he works in midfield. He can work in midfield, but I'd rather have Bellingham and Foden in there. And at right back, I don't know. Maybe you do play Trent at right back instead of Walker. Walker's only there because of his one-on-one ability. Trent is much better right back now. Yeah, maybe you do go Trent in the group stages. I mean, in the group stages, you know, respectfully to them, the opposition, you know, they don't have a crazy threat. Incoming Trent at left back. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Would you rate getting Çalhanoğlu? I looked at his FOT mob earlier today and lots of greenery. Yeah, I like Çalhanoğlu, but not enough to want to bring him in. Vegas Gunner, thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. That is awesome. Your thoughts on Mikel Merino? 1 year left, and I think he has a 50 million release clause. I looked at him previously. My issue is that 50 million when he's got 1 year left is bad value. So I wouldn't want to trigger a 50 million release clause when, in theory, you could get him for free next year if he doesn't sign a new deal. I do think I've got a feeling he wants to stay in Spain anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't want to pay 50 million for him, especially not when he's got 1 year left. Decent player, though. Decent player. What about the Feyenoord left back? Who's the Feyenoord left back? Not Hanko. Or is it Hanko? Or is it, do they have a different... Is it Hanko? Who do they play at left back? Oh no, Oh, Hartman. If you're talking about Hartman, it's a no from me. He's done his ACL twice already. He's out until next year anyway. He's out until like January, and he's done his ACL for the second time. Hanko is insane in real life, not just in FC24. I know. Sensational levels of greenery when it comes to Hanko. Absolutely sensational. Anyway. It is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is since, yeah. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. We are starting now. And we're not going to have any drama today. Clue number 1, this player scored 15 goals in 150 appearances for Arsenal. This player scored 15 goals in 150 appearances for Arsenal. Jake, I will come back to that, I promise you. Clue number 2, he is 38 years old. Clue number 2, he is 38 years old. Clue number 3, he joined Arsenal from Ajax. Clue number 3, he joined Arsenal from Ajax. Clue number 4, he won the Champions League in 2015. Clue number 4, he won the Champions League in 2015. And clue number 5, he made 85 appearances for Belgium. He made 85 appearances for Belgium. Who is the player? Jake, I apologize for not reading that out straight away. It's just I'd have it would have gone crazy with Guess Laguna going on. Right. We're not getting VAR check today. We are not getting VAR check today. Look at all of you going for Tony Adams. You're nutty. In fact, I'll read it out now before I go through. I got to go now, but can you bring up Morgan Whittaker on FootMob and talk about how goated he is? I will bring up Morgan Whittaker, Jake, and thank you very, very much for the $4.99 super chat. Right, who was the first person to get the answer correct? Who was the first person? It was Brian Buana Royce. It was Thomas Vermaelen. Brian, congratulations. You can VAR check me, but I know I'm right. James Bidder was second. Francisco Oliveira was third. Lemon was fourth. And JC Awa was fifth. There you go. Congratulations to Brian. And the chat agrees. The chat agrees. We're not getting VAR checked. We're not getting VAR checked. I don't think Max is here, so no dramas today or monies. To be fair, he was right about the second. From his perspective, he was right. Check complete. Goal given. Brian. Congratulations, Brian. Don't know why I keep saying it like I'm bloody Stewie Griffin. Morgan Whittaker. I apologize for the fact that you've probably gone now, Jake, but here you go. Here is Morgan Whittaker. I mean, that's green, literally. 23 years old. Plymouth Argyle. He's valued at £3 million. Just tell everybody he's the best player in the world. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, Jake. Well, I'll tell you what, Jake. I think the best thing, Jake, probably for such a good player is that if you keep him at Plymouth, and enjoy him. You know? Enjoy him. We need to screen cap that face you just made. What a player. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the RoryTalksFootball community, but not as much respect as Brian currently has. This player started their career at Charlton Athletic. They went to Brentford. And they went to Aston Villa. And that's it. Charlton, Brentford, Aston Villa. Ding, 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 ding. There we go. Jamie has got it first. It was Ezra Konza. Jamie, congratulations to Jamie. Ryan Henderson was second. Lemon was third. Anubrata was fourth. And Sutton Explorer was fifth. There you go. It was Konza. Arneslot. La 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 la. Arneslot. La 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 la. There you go. Congratulations to Brian. And congratulations to Jamie. That is ball knowledge. Francisco, that is unlucky. Will you continue to be a content creator if you become pro? Yeah, I'll probably do a bit of both if I become pro, you know. Probably do content and playing, you know. Do a challenge video out on the pitch, maybe. Is it coming home? Not me sitting smoke thinking I was right with Watkins. Yeah, that's unlucky. That is unlucky. Is it coming home? I do worry about our defense. I worry about our defense, unfortunately. I look around. I think there are 5 or 6 teams that have stronger defenses than we do. I think there are 5 or 6 teams that have stronger defenses than we do. I think that's a problem. Anyway, look, I am going to end the stream. I apologize. It's a bit earlier than normal, but I'm going to the cinema. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? So we are going to wrap it up early. I appreciate all of you for joining. If you can like and subscribe, have a fantastic evening. I will be live on Twitch. It may be slightly later than normal, but I will be live on Twitch. Link in the description. Sportcat wants VAR. Sportcat, this better be the Sportcat. I'm going to be late to the cinema because I'm VARing here. Sportcat. If this is a troll. This might not be a troll. Wait, when did Jamie say it? When did Jamie say it? Wait, loads of people said it before Jamie. George and Sportcat said it before Jamie. Sportcat, congratulations. Sportcat, I apologize. Sportcat and George both said it before Jamie. I don't know how I didn't see it. Jamie, you didn't win. Sportcat and George both came ahead of you. I apologize. Good evening. VAR, goal given, Sportcat. He's back on top. I'm going now. Bye-bye. Good evening. Goodbye.